Hi everyone, this is DinoSasha here, and welcome back to another review. Today, we're going to take a look at the figure. It is the Papo 2018 Iguanodon. Now, Iguanodon, which name means iguana tooth, is the genus of iguanodontian dinosaur that lives in the early Cretaceous period, about 126 to 122 million years ago, what has now lived in Europe. Now, the creature's size can only up to 9 to 11 meters, 30 to 36 feet long, and weigh up to 4.5 metric tons, or 5.0 short tons. Now, Iguanodon is one of the largest members of Iguanodontian family. This includes Mantellisaurus, Fukuisaurus, and others of its species. Now, it was discovered in 1825 by geologist Jadon Mantel, and it was named and discovered after that. It was the second dinosaur which is discovered and named after the Megalosaurus, which Megalosaurus is the first one to discover and named. Now, Iguanodons is unlike most of animals that it had. Although hadrosaurs depict as docile and friendly, well, not to be the case. Iguanodon, on the other hand, is a more dangerous animal, and despite the fact, unlike hadrosaurs, Iguanodon has a secret weapon. It has a spike thumb to use to defend itself from predators. It is a herbivore, mainly eat plants, and it has to deal with the natural predators, like the Neovenator and Baryonyx. Now, let's talk about the sculpt. Although Iguanodon depicts as a large lizard with a horn, but today it looks more like an ornithopod with a thumb spike, which is pretty good. Now, the sculpt is very nice. It's a perfection of the sculpt. Although it's very nice to have an addition for a sculptation, this Iguanodon looks very nice. It looks perfectly good. It's thick body, and I like how the design of this particular strong herbivore. And speaking of which, Alodon makes an appearance in the Disney's Dinosaur, and I'm gonna give respect for that. So Iguanodons should not be messed with anybody. And speaking of which, it looks pretty nice indeed. And I think the design of it looks very good, and speaking of which, this looks great on sculptation. And let's talk about the pose. It is a challenging pose that Iguanodon challenge another carnivore to a fight, or in case the Baryonyx or the Neovenator. So, to be fact, the juvenile Iguanodon was eaten by a Baryonyx after discovering it, since Baryonyx means heavy claw. So the sculpt pose is actually pretty good. Although, it's actually pretty nice to have a fighting pose, and the details is also did well. Because of that, I'm gonna give respect for this majestic herbivore, and although it's not as we thought of been as we think, so Iguanodon is titled the largest known of its family. I do have two versions for that, but it's not the case, but it's still an animal, not gonna say about that. And speaking of which, well, and one more thing about that is the color scheme. The color scheme is pretty good, actually. It is grayish in color, although we have some greenish yellowish stripes, and especially look more zebra-like, and it's pretty good additioning, especially the other ones from its feet. And also, there's also beige in colors of its body, which is underbelly, and the neck, and the part of the tail. And speaking of which, it's pretty nice sculptation of this animal, which it's a respect for the Iguanodon. And the head looks pretty nice indeed. Although, unlike the rest, because the jaw is not supposed to do it. Well, although unlike most of articulate jaws of any animal on carnivores, which is good, the Iguanodon's articulate jaw looks not great actually. It looks terrible. Which, it just opens very weakly, so it makes sense. Although the CollectA Iguanodon doesn't need an articulated jaw at all, but this one already had one to be the least. But I can see the tongue inside of it, which it's exactly what this animal would have looked like in real life. Although this is a very strong depicted herbivore, although Iguanodons are more dangerous than the other hadrosaurs, well, apart from their cousins, which is very nice addition on this animal. Now, the only Iguanodon species is Iguanodon bernisteretensis, which is a very nice addition, but if you know about the comment, in a way. Now, let's take a look at the ruler and let's give this Iguanodon a measure.
Terms from a length from the tip of the snout, always tip of the tail, we're looking about 9.5 inches, and which is only at about, as we can see, it's only around as 24.5 centimeters, and a height on top of the head, we're looking at about as 3.25 inches, and which is only at about almost 9.5 centimeters. Now for comparison, I'm gonna bring up some other iguanodons.
I'm gonna bring up some smaller Iguanodons, and there is the CollectA 2020 Fukuisaurus and 2018 Mantellisaurus. They are the only two Iguanodons that managed to make in the way, but still, they're much smaller than Iguanodon. I'm gonna link both of them in the description box down below. And I'm gonna give this 9 out of 10. Although sculptation is nice, but the jaw articulation looks terrible. But everybody likes this iguana though. But if you know this figure, let me know in the comments. Well, anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and click the bell for notifications so you'll never miss a video. And leave a comments below, and I'll see you for another review about the Papo 2023 Oniosaurus. Goodbye, everyone, and see you next time.